So how do we find success without all the stress? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Hey, my name is Brandon Balance. I am a husband, father for a serial entrepreneur, and a certified professional coach. And I know as I've sought success in my own life in different areas, whether it was career-wise in business or in relationships or in my own fitness, sometimes there can be stress when it comes to seeking success. It can be stressful because we desire an outcome, right? We want that success. We want to be able to achieve our goals and to find the outcomes that we're looking for, but sometimes we can find ourselves kind of under this weight and being stressed out and finding ourselves being anxious and living in anxiety as we pursue those things. So a big question is, how do we pursue success? How do we go after our dreams and the things that we desire in life, but do it in a way that we're not killing ourselves or we're not stressed out that affects so many other areas of our life. It affects our relationships, much less obviously our own internal world, how our minds and hearts. It's horrible to live in a place of stress, but it comes out of us, and then it affects our relationships. It can affect our faith. It can show up in work and influence our productivity and how the decisions we're making. And so stress it is really something that we want to figure out how to remove from our lives. And so first we need to understand, why are we being stressed? What is causing us to be in this place of anxiousness and anxiety? And I think part of it comes down to having the wrong definition of what success is. If we have this definition of success that is not in alignment with God's definition of success, if your definition is having the Lamborghini and the yacht and doing all the stuff that we see on TV and the media is trying to convince us is what success is, then yeah, you might find yourself a little bit stressed if you're still driving, a Ford Taurus. That Lamborghini is a long ways away if you're not seeing any traction in life to move you towards that thing that you desire and that you see as being successful. So we need to first evaluate what our definition of success is and make sure it's in alignment with our values and with what God values. And because I believe many times, again, when we start seeing success in the wrong way and through the wrong lens, it causes us anxiety because it feels unattainable, that we're working for something that's just far away. And so we start working even harder. We start striving to get that thing. And I know that I've been there personally. And I found myself stressed out at times because I want to get something done. I want to achieve something. I want something to work, but it doesn't feel like it's working. And so I find myself, my anxiety level starting to increase. And what I've learned about myself, at least, is that when I start to feel anxious and when I start to feel stressed, it's a pretty good indicator that I'm not walking in the Spirit. And if you're not a believer in Jesus, you may not be familiar with that phrase. The Bible teaches us that it uses this phrase about walking in the Spirit, that God desires us to walk in the Spirit. And what that means is that God desires us to walk in step with His Spirit, in step with Him, and that we're walking at His pace and we're in His path. And so for me, when I found myself being more stressed in life and not finding the success that I'm looking for, it's usually because my definition of success is wrong. And number two, that I'm not walking in the Spirit. I'm walking in my own strength and I'm being my own source, if you will. And so I find myself being stressed. So in this passage, Matthew chapter 6, verse 29, Jesus, he's talking to people who are stressed. These people are anxious. They're worried about life. And Jesus is telling them, he said, listen, guys, why are you're so stressed out? You're so worried. You're anxious. You're worried about all the stuff in life, about making the money and having the things that you want and what you're going to eat and what you're going to wear. And he tells them this. He says, why are you anxious about your clothing? He says, consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you that even Solomon in all of his glory was not arrayed as one of these. But if God so clothed the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow be thrown in the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? And so here these people are they're finding themselves so anxious, and Jesus said, hey, don't you understand? God wants to take care of you. That thing that you desire, that success that you're after, guess what? God is for you. He wants you to be successful as well. Guess what? You were created for success. But make sure that your definition of success is His definition of success. And don't find yourselves toiling over this stuff. Understand that God is a good God, that He wants to take care of you. He wants to support you and help you. Make sure that He is your source and that you're not your own source. And I know for me, again, a lot of times the stress comes when I'm not walking in the Spirit, and it comes when I'm being my own source. Well, guess what? When you are your own source, you are going to be stressed. So that might be an indicator. If you're feeling stressed, check your source. Is God your source? Are you really relying on Him and trusting Him? Is He really number one? Are you seeking Him first? Or have you began to seek other things? Have you began to seek success before His kingdom? Guess what? God wants you to have that success, but only after it's submitted to His kingdom first, that His kingdom, His dominion, His authority and rulership is over that thing. And when it is under the kingdom, guess what? You can rest and you'll find the success that you're looking for. Jesus said in another passage in Luke chapter 11, verse 25, Jesus said, why are you so worried about these things in life? Don't you know that worrying won't add one day to your life? Jesus said, don't you know that worry won't add one day to your life? I love it that, again, that the scriptures are in line with science, because today we understand science tells us that, yeah, actually stress not only adds a day, it won't add a day to our life, but stress actually takes away from our life. It can steal our days because it has that effect on us emotionally, mentally, and ultimately physically. So I want to encourage you today that stress, if you're stressed while you're seeking success, know that stress goes when you surrender. Stress goes when you surrender. When you surrender the outcome to God. When you show up, you do your best. Yes, you steward yourself, your activities, your life. You seek to grow. But when you surrender it to God's kingdom, stress will go when you surrender to His lordship. So I want to encourage you today, don't be stressed. Surrender it to God's lordship over your life. Seek first His kingdom and make sure that God is your source, and you'll find yourself less stressed today as you pursue the success that God has for you. Hey, thanks for taking time to watch this video. If you desire more personal and professional success in your life, the success that God has for you, I want you to check out the links down in the show notes. We've got some free resources to help you on your journey to take action so you can experience the full life that God desires you to have. Also, visit our website at kingdomsuccess.coach.